Chapter 26. Emma. I lay awake all night, wondering what the fuck happened. How much did he see? I groan into my pillow, at the way he whispered in my ear. There is no way I can face him right now. So I do the cowardly thing and avoid him. After I get ready the following morning, I check the coast is clear and rush out. And I keep avoiding him. All week. I spend so much time at Hannah's, I'm convinced she's about to kick me out. I leave early for class and lock myself in my room when I'm at home. On Thursday morning, he's having breakfast when I do my dash to get out. Good morning. There isn't a hint of awkwardness in his voice. He barely looks up at me. Leaving already? Yeah. I have class. I've barely seen you all week. I keep walking to the door. There's a lot to do with the talent show. I had no idea it would keep me this busy. It's not a lie, but I'm not sure he believes me. I give him a smile as I get into my jacket and hurry away before he can say anything else. Friday afternoon has me ready to explode. We've all decided to go to a new club tonight, and I'm excited to go dancing. I get ready in my room and can hear Knightley as he moves about in the kitchen. I've run into him a few times now, and after each encounter I'm more and more convinced that I imagined the whole thing. Maybe it was all in my head, from seeing him naked to him whispering about how he likes being the one who makes me look like that. Like I'm about to orgasm. That's what he meant. I make sure I didn't miss any spots when I shaved my legs. My mind has been wandering way too much in the shower lately. Satisfied, I pull on my boots and find a necklace. My fingers linger on the bracelet Knightley gave me. I only hesitate a moment before putting it on. Then I tuck it under the sleeve and roll my eyes. After some last adjustments to my hair and makeup, I grab my purse and head out. And bump into Knightley. He smells fantastic. I want to roll around in that scent and let it cover me. I want to lick him up and down. Blinking, I take a step back. He inhales. Is he picking you up again? His voice is flat and dull, and I'm certain I only imagine the strain. No. I shake my head as I make sure I have my phone. I'm picking up Hannah and Avery. I'm the designated driver tonight, so that they don't have to worry about buses. They don't run very often in that neighborhood. The buses, I mean. I'm babbling. I shut my mouth and keep it clamped. When I look up at him, he seems surprised. What? He shakes himself out of some kind of stupor. Nothing. No what? You were thinking something. I'm just surprised you would go to all that trouble. My eyebrows pull together. Why wouldn't I? He puts up a defensive hand and steps away from me. No reason. I reach out a hand for the bowl on the counter. I've started tossing my car keys there, so that I don't lose them in a pocket or a purse somewhere. Just as I'm about to grab them, his hand wraps around my wrist, stopping me. My breathing turns labored, and I take a moment before looking up at him. I'll drive, he says. His fingers are warm against my skin. His hand strong. Firm. You don't have to do that. I curse inwardly as my voice comes out all breathy. I'll drive so you can have a night out with your friends, and have a few drinks if you want. I look back at his fingers. But what about you? I'm not drinking tonight. He finally lets go and grabs his own keys from the bowl. Come on. His car is parked next to mine. I know little about cars, but I know Knightley loves this one. He bought it when he was 15 and worked on it for years. The first summer, he and Noah would spend days watching tutorials as they tried to get it to run. Over the years, he's upgraded it. Last time I was in it, it had the old seats and just an old cassette player. That's all gone now, and the interior feels luxurious. I feel safe when Knightley drives. He pays attention to the traffic, he stops at stop signs. And he takes the curves at an appropriate speed. I give him the directions for Hannah's place. His hands grip the steering wheel, and for a long while I'm back in that fantasy. The one where those hands run up and down my body, feather light touches over my breasts, down my naked back. Are you mad at me? The question startles me and I'm glad it's dark as my cheeks flush. What? His inhalation is shaky. Are you mad at me? He doesn't remove his eyes from the road. No. Why would I be? You've been avoiding me. I thought maybe you got mad because of what happened. I'm really sorry about that. And I don't want things to be weird between us. He finally looks at me. You're one of my best friends. Disappointment tears through me. Right. Friend. I'm not mad. It was just embarrassing, I say and look out the window. Silence lays over the car like a thick, heavy blanket. When did you get a tattoo? I have to say something. And all I can think of is his body. His teeth glimmer in a smile. About a year ago. I lost a bet with Noah. You bet a tattoo? I've wanted a tattoo for a really long time, and I would have done it eventually. But I was happy to lose the bet. I might still be hesitating otherwise. I shake my head. Boys? Do? He clears his throat. You don't like tattoos. He sounds nervous. I've said before that I don't. It's no secret. And I don't think I'd ever want one. My mouth has gone dry. So you think it's horrible? I think he's holding his breath, waiting for me to answer. No. Not horrible. He exhales loudly and my heart thumps in my chest. Is it this one? Confused, I look at him. He's eyeing one of the buildings. Hannah's building. Oh yes. I'll text her. When the four of us get to the club, there's already a line. We ignore it. I'm not sure who got us on the list. It could have been D, with his connections. They could have used Jenna's name, or maybe Knightley hacked the system. Most likely, Frank Churchill, famous movie star, flashed his pearly whites and dazzled them into taking our names. Whichever way it happened, we're inside checking our coats in a matter of minutes. The music is loud and the lights dim. We ignore the tables and the DJ downstairs, and head up to the VIP area. Frank, Noah, Jenna and Julian are already there. They greet us with shots, and we instantly down them before heading out to the dance floor. I dance with the girls until I get thirsty. When Jenna and I get back to the guys, Knightley offers to get us drinks, and we sink down into the plush chairs that are so comfortable I could sink into one and stay there all night. Knightley brings us each a pink drink that tastes of lemon and raspberry. It's delicious. I take a big gulp, and Knightley places a bottle of water next to me. Without a word, he goes to sit with Noah and Julian, who are grilling Frank about something. I glance at the water, then at Knightley. It's almost too loud to talk, so I sit with Jenna and look down at the dance floor where Avery is drawing a lot of attention. She's dressed in a simple black dress and has her hair down for once, and the way she moves is mesmerizing. I sip on my drink, and wave at the two women to come up for a while. But before they break loose, Frank appears. He dances next to them, and Avery matches her movements to him. Hannah says something to Avery, and points up at us. She detaches herself from the crowd and comes to sit with us. Knightley brings over another 2 drinks and hands one to Hannah. I glance back at the dance floor. Avery and Frank are still dancing. Closer than I would have thought Avery would be comfortable with. I finish my drink and have some water. Just as Avery reaches us, I get up. Hannah follows me to the dance floor, and I get lost in the music. When I glance up at the VIP area, Knightley and Avery are leaning against the railing, talking to each other as they look out over the room. The song changes and I squeal in delight and start mouthing the words. As I step backwards, I bump into someone. Thinking nothing of it, I get out of their way. But the presence lingers. Some guy is dancing behind me. Against me. I move around to get away from him, but he soon follows. I meet Hannah's gaze, and she rolls her eyes and pulls me away. When he follows me again, I'm starting to think I have to say something. My heart pounds as I turn. But I've barely opened my mouth before Knightley steps between me and the creep. For a heartbeat, we stand still in the moving crowd and our eyes meet. I drown in those eyes. He came to save me. The creep is objecting. He tries to get around Knightley. But Knightley moves closer to me and places his hands on my waist. I place one hand on his chest and keep dancing. His body syncs with mine and the world disappears. Our bodies move and the music flows through us. I'm warm. So warm. My hand slides up his chest and to his neck. I lower my eyes to his lips, and I can feel the thoughts from a mile away. What can those lips do? What would it be like to feel them trailing down my neck? When I look back up, there's a question in his eyes. Fear grips me and I move away. I think he's gone, I say loudly, leaning into him so he can hear me over the music. Good. His hands are still on my waist. Thanks for that. I can't look at him. Not when I can't trust my own mind. You didn't have to. Just trying to be a good friend. I have never before hated that word. And that scares me even more. He's my friend. My brother's friend. That's it. I shouldn't be having feelings one way or another about that. When he leaves, I feel alone. Even in the throng of people dancing and sweating. I feel alone. When Hannah is almost falling asleep as soon as she sits down and Jenna has started yawning, we decide it's time to call it a night. I can drive you home, Julian offers as Hannah, Avery and I follow him and Jenna towards the entrance. Don't you have to drive Frank and Noah? I ask. My eyes roam the club, trying to spot Knightley. Oh yeah. But I can drive twice. I finally see him. He's leaning against a wall. In front of him, a pretty redhead in tight pants is reaching out to stroke his arm. I'm sure Knightley can drive us, I say and clench my jaw. Without taking my eyes off them, I cross the floor to Knightley and the woman who's trying to pick him up. Knightley smiles at something the redhead says. I'm buzzed enough from the drinks and the atmosphere that I barely think, as I step in close to Knightley and put my hand on his arm. I'm standing much too close to him. Ignoring the other woman completely, I smile. Are you ready to go home? His surprise changes into something else, something that makes his eyes darken as he looks at me. I'm ready. With a triumphant glare at the other woman, I take his hand and lead him to where the others are waiting. Noah has joined them and raises an eyebrow at me. I let go of Knightley's hand, but he holds mine in a firm grip. I pull my hand away and take the coat Hannah is holding out for me. We leave the warmth of the club and are instantly reminded that it's winter. Julian and Jenna walk ahead. Knightley fishes out his car keys and heads off to the car. Noah grabs my arm and holds me back. What the hell was that? He asks. What was what? I try to pretend I have no idea what he's talking about. You laying claim to Knightley. What the fuck, Emma? I wasn't laying claim to him. I glance over at the others to make sure they can't overhear us. It sure as hell looked like it. Don't be silly. I keep walking. Emma, do you know what you're doing? He sounds angry. I'm not doing anything. I pull away from him. I'm not interested in Knightley. He is driving us, and I just want to go home. As I turn away from Noah, my eyes meet Knightley's and I know he heard that last part. My stomach clenches, stealing the breath from my lungs. But he just unlocks the car. Hey, Emma. Stunned, I turn to Frank as he comes running up to us. I'm so glad I caught you. I've got great news. You're going to love me for this. I'll be able to help out with the talent show. Shaking off the look on Knightley's face, I smile. Are you serious? So we can put you down as a host? Sure. That sounds great. As long as you tell me what to say. Yeah, of course, no problem. Frank, you have no idea how much this means. Is it okay if we put your name on the ads? Yeah, I'll even put something on my socials to help promote it. This is so awesome. I give him a spontaneous hug. Having him support the charity is going to help so much. We have been worried about not selling enough tickets. Now I'm thinking we might have to find room for more people. He hugs me back. I wanted to tell you now, because I have to fly out again tomorrow morning. He checks his phone and grimaces. Well, in a few hours. I'm not sure I'll be back much before the show. But I will be here for it. Thank you so much, I say and turn back to the car with a big smile on my lips. Knightley is studying me with an unreadable look on his face. I get in the passenger seat and wait for Avery and Hannah to say goodbye to Frank. He hugs them as well, and I think that makes Knightley relax just a little. We drop Hannah and Avery off, and Knightley waits until they're inside before he drives away. What's wrong? I ask. He's been unusually quiet since we left the club. Nothing. I don't believe him. Are you upset because I blew your chances with the redhead? I take a deep breath. I'm sorry about that. He only shrugs in answer. But you couldn't possibly have been into her anyway. He furrows his brows. Why not? Because? Because why? I blink. Because she's not me. Because I don't want you to be. Because I say so. I turn and look out the window. None of that matters, does it? I'm sorry for ruining your chances. I finally say. He swears. What? I look at him. His knuckles are white around the steering wheel. I don't understand. Isn't that why you're mad? It was never about that woman. What is it then? My voice is louder than I want it to be. Warmth and alcohol are simmering inside me, mixing with frustration that I don't quite understand. You don't know. He's almost yelling. So tell me. His jaw clenches as he turns into his parking spot. Surprised, I realize we're already home. I get the door open and get out. Inhaling the cold air. You're an idiot for falling for Churchill. I blink. Open my mouth. Then I turn to him and close the car door. What? What are you talking about? His chest heaves and I steel myself for what he's about to say. Then he exhales. Never mind. He locks the car and walks to the building. No, tell me. What are you talking about? I have to run to keep up with him. It doesn't matter. Forget about it. Knightley. Forget it, Emma. It's been a long day and I'm tired. His words snap my mouth shut, and we ride up the elevator in silence. He opens the apartment door and I follow him inside, filled with confusion. By his bedroom door he stops and takes a deep breath. I'm your friend, Emma. Just be careful. I meant nothing by it. If you want Churchill, that's up to you. I'm still gaping at his door when it closes. I'm certain I missed a whole lot in this conversation. A light headache starts pounding at my temple, and I grab a bottle of water before I close myself in my room and try to sort out my thoughts. Maybe I had too much to drink. Because I can't make sense of anything. I remove my makeup and fall into bed, hoping a good night's sleep will help clear things up. Chapter 27. Emma. So, we're all set on the order? Freya asks and studies us as if daring us to object. We all nod. We've spent the last 2 hours figuring out which talents to include and in what order. It has not been easy, but we need to have it settled. The talent show is in less than 2 weeks. Thanks to Frank, we've sold most of the tickets and expect to sell out completely before the show. We've also received donations from all over the country. Having a celebrity spokesperson has bumped this event from a small, practically unknown thing to something that can actually make a difference. I sometimes wish it didn't have to come down to that, but if that's how we can raise money to help people with eating disorders, then that's what we need to do. I think we can move on now, I say and check my notes for what else we need to talk about today. Hannah sighs and rolls her neck beside me. I hesitate. Or maybe we should take a quick break first. Everyone pushes away from the table almost as one. I find my water bottle and take a drink. I'm so glad we got that settled, Hannah says. I had no idea the order of performances was something people feel so strongly about. Same. I open my mouth to say something, but my mind empties as the door to the room opens and Edwin walks in. He's trailed by the small black-haired woman from the photos. I reach out and place a hand on Hannah's leg. She still hasn't seen him. "Don't turn around," I whisper. "Edwin is here, and he brought the woman." She freezes. "Edwin." Sam walks up to him and greets him. "You're back." "I decided to take a month off," Edwin says to the room. "And lucky I did." He puts his arm around the woman and pulls her close. "It gave me a chance to reconnect with the love of my life." He says the last part a bit too loud and looks in my direction. "This is Gwen, my fiancée." Gwen holds out her left hand, showing off her ring. "Isn't it amazing?" I glance at Hannah. She's pale and still hasn't turned around to look at them. "Congratulations," Sam says. Teresa and Freya slip through the room as if drawn to the ring. They obediently admire it, while Gwen looks at Edwin as if he's her knight in shining armor. "Are you okay?" I ask quietly. Hannah nods. I get up and squeeze her shoulder. "Congratulations," I say to Edwin and hope my smile looks somewhat sincere. "Did you tell them how you proposed?" Gwen asks Edwin. He shakes his head. "You didn't? Well, I will then. It's a good story. I totally wasn't expecting it. As you know, we were high school sweethearts." I did not know about that. I don't even remember her from high school. To be fair, it was a large school, so I must have overlooked her. When he showed up after Christmas, it was as if we had spent no time apart at all. I instantly fell back in love with him. Well, last week, he took me to the bleachers where we shared our first kiss. I kept telling him it was too cold, but he insisted. And when we got there were candles everywhere. He must have spent hours lighting them all. He led me right to the spot where we kissed and got down on one knee. I almost fainted when he showed me the ring. "I'm the one who was ready to faint," Edwin says. I thought for sure she would say no. But instead, she made me the happiest man alive. "You're so silly." Gwen raises herself on her toes, and Edwin lowers his face so she can rub her nose against his. "As if I'd ever say no to you." Next to me, Hannah finally gets up. I stand next to her as she plasters on a smile. "Congratulations on the engagement." Edwin barely acknowledges her. "Thank you," Gwen chirps. All of Edwin's friends are so sweet. And don't worry, I'm not going to keep him from the talent show. I know you've been counting on his help. That's why we're here. "Yes," Edwin says. "I was thinking Gwen should perform at the show. She used to be a cheerleader, and I think it would look awesome with her on that stage doing her thing." Gwen swats at him. "Doing my thing? Oh, silly. It's called a routine. And I'd be happy to perform for you. I have my own uniform and everything." I can feel Hannah going stiff next to me. And anger wells up inside me. "I'm sorry," I say sweetly as I tilt my head to one side. "We're already done with auditions, and we just settled on the program. Maybe next year." I blink innocently. "But don't worry, there's still plenty to do. We were just about to discuss the concession stands. Maybe you would want to help with that?" "We should get back to it," Freya says. "I don't have all day for this." We take our seats again, and Edwin and Gwen join us. I'm pretty sure Edwin whispers to Gwen about how I must be jealous, and that's why I won't let her perform. But one glance at Hannah, and I'm happy to be the one taking most of the heat. "We have one big problem," Freya says. "I just found out the sound guy we hired wants more money." I forget about the engaged couple for a while, as the reality hits me. "What? Why? We already agreed on a number." "True, but he found out that Frank Churchill is involved and decided that if we can afford him, we should be able to pay a premium for sound as well." "But that's ridiculous." I check my notes to see how much we agreed to pay him. It's not a lot, but he knew this is for charity. "Supposedly," Freya rolls her eyes, He got offered another gig that would pay better, a wedding or something. I guess we have to find someone else. I sigh and open the list I have of sound guys. Can you handle that, Emma? I grimace. I'll try. We need sound. I nod. I know. I'll see what I can do. I'm sure I can come up with some solution. The rest of the meeting is pretty boring, with Edwin and Gwen interjecting ideas much too grand and costly to be feasible, and contributing very little. I'm ecstatic when the meeting is over. Hannah was sinking into herself more and more every time Edwin or Gwen opened their mouths, and I can tell this is hitting her hard. We almost storm out of the library, and find Avery and Knightley chatting outside. Avery laughs at something, and Knightley's smile cuts through me. Avery notices us first. I was hoping I'd run into you, she says to Hannah. Do you want to do some shopping with me? I need to get something to wear for the talent show. Hannah cheers up a bit. Sure. Then I can tell you about the drama. There's drama? Avery asks, then she looks at me. Do you want to join us, Emma? I shake my head. No, thank you. I have a feeling Avery doesn't like me very much. Unfortunately, I have things to do. They take off. Are you headed home? Knightley asks. I have to go via the bookstore and pick up a book. See you later. I turn and walk away, but to my surprise he follows me. I'll come with you. I'm not in a hurry. He seems calm, almost content. I glance back at Avery's disappearing back. Could it be? As far as I know, they haven't really spent any time together. But he seemed happy when he talked to her. I want to ask him. But I'm not sure I can handle the answer. I don't think Avery likes me, I say instead. Avery? Why not? She just seems cold. I think she's shy. She invited you to go dress shopping. Maybe you just need to get to know her better. Maybe. I don't know. I just get the feeling she's a bit stuck up. I haven't noticed anything. She seems nice to me. I only nod, and we walk on in silence to the bookstore.